there, everybody. Welcome back to the Planes, Trains, and Comic Books channel. My name is Matt, and today we're going to review Batman the Knight #1. And before we get into that, if you guys wouldn't mind sharing, subscribing, commenting, it really helps me out and lets me know what you guys want to see more of. So, with that being said, let's get straight into it. All right, we got the cover here of Batman the Knight #1. It is 1 of 10, and this is written by Chip Zdarsky. The art is by Carmine Di Giandomenico. And we start off here with Alfred picking up little Bruce Wayne from the police station. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be the night that his parents were shot, and that's why Alfred's picking him up. We cut to sometime in the future when Bruce is, I believe he's already in college at this point, but he's maybe just starting. And he's at a psychiatrist, but it turns out that psychiatrist is Hugo Strange. If you know who that character is, you know that he is a bad guy. So it seems like maybe this is their first run-in. And they're just kind of talking about Bruce's moods. Is he sad? Is he angry? Hugo noticed that his hands had bruising. Bruce has been fighting, obviously. One thing this book does is it goes back and forth between multiple different times. So this is Bruce as a middle schooler or high schooler at Gotham Academy. And this is a flashback of him fighting while he's there, and we see he's taking on all these guys. He says it's actually not his fault. He was protecting one of the other kids. There's definitely like an instigator bully who's been hassling him a bunch. So then we cut back to Hugo Strange and the college-age Bruce. And Hugo's talking about him having nightmares and how he wants to do some more hypnotherapy on him so you can really get to the root of the problem. So then we cut back to the time where he was at Gotham Academy, and we see that the bully kid that started the fight earlier is being taken out of the school by his mom because he keeps having incidents happen to him. Someone put poison ivy in his gym towel, and then he got locked in the boiler room the other day. So he's being transferred out because his parents don't like the way that the teachers take care of them. And then we see that Bruce here has been reading up on botany. So we're going to assume that he's the one who's been messing with this kid, and that's why there was poison ivy in his towel. Then we get to Bruce and this girl named Dana, who she's actually the one who recommended Hugo Strange to him as a doctor. This is them like right before they go to college. They're talking about what they're going to do with their lives and what they want to be, you know, as adults. And they both say they want to go to Gotham University. And Bruce specifically says he wants to be a cop, like he's going to take criminology. And Dana thinks that's a bad idea. She says the richest man in Gotham or in the world walking around with a gun, having that much power really doesn't seem like a good idea. And she really thinks that because she actually knows that he was the one tormenting that other bully, and she knows that there's like some kind of darkness in him, and it's not that he wants justice, it's that he wants vengeance. And she says there shouldn't be cops on the street that have that attitude. So then we cut to like a year in the future where they're in college, and this is about the time that the comic started with Hugo and him. He's doing gymnastics and working out, and she's talking to him. She's saying like, hey, you have a chemistry exam today. And he's like, well, I'm not going. I'd rather just learn on my own and read, and they're not going to fail me because I'm Bruce Wayne and I give so much money to this school. There's no way that they would do that. And then she looks at his hands and sees it's all bruised and messed up. And she's like, what are you doing to yourself, Bruce? And what he's doing is he's been going to a fight ring where guys fight each other for money. And that's where he gets his bruised knuckles and his beat up face. And right when he's about to win the fight, the police show up and they start arresting everybody. And while they're rounding everybody up, Bruce sees these specific officers try to shake down the guy who's running the gambling ring. And they try to extort him. And, you know, they say they want a cut of his money. So Alfred bails him out from the police station, and Alfred is pissed. He's like, why are you doing this? Why are you fighting? I failed you. And that he should think about the men he's fighting, because Bruce is saying like, look, I just needed to test my skills, and this was the easiest way to do it. When he's training at gyms and stuff, they don't go full force on him because he's Bruce Wayne. So he needs something like this where he can really test his skills. And Alfred's pissed because he's just beating up poor people, basically. So he's like, you know, don't you realize like why are these people fighting? It's because they don't have any money, and they're doing it because they need to feed their families, not because they're testing themselves. And Alfred finishes his scolding of Bruce by saying, you've been given everything. You need to prove you deserve it. And I'm going to leave it right there. I don't want to spoil any more of this, This comic seemed like it was going to be just a retelling of the Batman origin, and I'm really glad that it wasn't that. I think that's all due to Chip Zdarsky's good writing on this. But I really enjoyed the way that this was told, and how Hugo Strange is being used as like a plot device here to cut back and forth between the timelines right away, because it's Hugo Strange as his therapist. If you know who he is, you're like, ooh, what's going on here? Because you know he's a villain. If you didn't know who he was, it was just a good plot device that kind of pushed the story along. We learned some stuff about Bruce and how he was when he was a kid, the anger and kind of pettiness that Bruce had with that bully, and then how he kind of fucked up when he was trying to test himself as a young adult. Those were just cool new things they added to like this Batman story. So I'm interested to see, if they use all these characters for the rest of the series. Like, is Hugo Strange going to be the main bad guy? Is Dana going to be like a love interest through the main story? And I'm assuming Alfred's going to be, like a very big part of it as well, because he was so prominent in helping Bruce in this first issue. So just a lot of ideas to play with. It'll definitely have a lot of places to go. So obviously, I really liked the writing from Chip Zdarsky. I think he did a good job on this. I haven't read too much of his stuff. I haven't had a chance to read his Daredevil yet, although everybody says it's amazing. So I want to check that out too. But as a first issue, this is a really strong setup that I thought was going to be kind of boring because it's going over Bruce Wayne as a kid again. This did have some kind of new stuff, or at least grew the character a bit. It seems promising from this first issue. And the art by D.G.N. Domenico was really good. I thought it was super solid. It was really clean, really crisp. It fit the title really well. Just solid art overall. So I'm going to give this book a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to continue reading this. Like I said before, there's going to be 10 issues of this book, so it seems like that'll give them enough time to create like a really good story and not rush it, and also not make it too long, because 12 issues is pretty long. So 10 seems like a good sweet spot. So I have high hopes for this series as a whole. So if you saw anything you liked from this issue, definitely go pick it up at your local comic book store, and we will see you guys on the next one.